The next few moments were nothing but a blur to me. The only thing I remember is hearing my own shrill screams before running away. I heard the others shout as they chased after me. I didn't even become cognizant of anything until I found myself in an unfamiliar foyer. Snapping back to reality, I looked around. I could hear the others' voices filtering up from me, calling out my name. What the fuck just happened? Swallowing, I turned and looked over the railing. I could see the flashlights wildly aiming around. I swallowed, then yelled, "Here I am!" A light flashed up, hitting me in the face, momentarily blinding me. "I found him," I heard the captain's voice call. "Nathan, stay right where you are, we're coming up." "All right," I replied, and then took a step back, aiming my light to see where I was. My light flashed off a sign which declared I'd somehow fled all the way up to C deck. 3 decks? And then the image of the eyes staring down at me swam through my mind. I began to shake again, hearing the thing's voice, imitating Vinny, echo inside my head. Trying to calm myself, I took a few steps into the middle of the foyer. Aiming my light around, it reflected off another sign, first-class swimming pool. Beneath it were a set of double doors which stood open, the light inside spilling into the landing. I couldn't see much inside, so I took a few more steps. I blinked a few times. Am I seeing things? I wasn't. The swimming pool was packed. I saw people in old-style bathing suits swimming in the pool. A woman wearing a bathing cap swam by, heading left, doing the butterfly stroke. There was a happy cry of children laughing everywhere, and 2 of them even ran by the doorway as they chased after one another. I realised music filtered out from the room as well. It was old swing music. It was playing from an intercom inside. None of that was what caused me to gasp. It was who I saw standing across on the other side of the pool. I struggled to find my voice before calling out, "Will?" At my call, he turned to look at me. A huge grin spread across his face, and he raised an arm to wave at me. He looked nothing less than like the happiest man on the planet, and he wasn't alone. A second pair of eyes that turned to regard me at my call, a pair of blue, almost sapphire eyes. Ones that, for a moment, made me feel as though I were falling under some kind of spell. Platinum blonde hair bobbed around the shoulders and voluptuous lips pulled back into a smile. One that held equal amounts of warmth and eeriness to them. She wore a white turtleneck and slacks that accentuated her figure, and a bracelet dangled from one wrist. The lips contorted into a smirk as she snaked an arm around Will's shoulders, and one eye closed in a wink. I'd never seen the woman before, but instantly I knew who she was. Diana. And then the doors to the pool slammed shut on their own. "Will!" I screamed it, sprinting for the doors as I heard the others reach the landing. I heard them call out to me, but I was ramming my shoulder into the doors, trying desperately to get them open. "What's happening?" I heard the captain cry out. "It's Will. He's in there," I screamed. Instantly the others joined me in pushing. After a moment, the doors suddenly swung inwards, almost sending us into the pool. I froze, feeling a wave of shock flash through me. The pool was empty. No. He was there. He was there, and there were dozens of people in here as well. I began blabbering out. There were people, and there was a woman next to him. I swear it had to be the one he was talking about, Diana. And then the doors slammed shut, and I trailed off, looking at the others. Some held frightened expressions on their faces, but some, like Andrew and Spencer, I saw confused, disbelieving looks on theirs. I felt a wave of anger flash through me. "I'm not crazy," I began screaming. "I'm not fucking crazy, so don't you dare look at me like that. Not out of the hell we all just went through down below." Instantly I saw reality crash into them. Looks of guilt and shame passed over their faces. They know they're in the wrong here. I saw Spencer begin to open his mouth, but it was cut off as Wyatt began to scream behind them. You know what? Fuck this! The others turned to see him running for another of the red boxes which contained a fire hose and an axe. To my shock, he punched straight through the glass with his bare hands, something that should have broken them, but somehow he yanked an axe from it. Without a glance at his shredded and bleeding hands, his eyes danced wildly in their sockets, and I instantly recognised that he'd gone off the deep end. He began to scream again, both at us and around him in general. It's, fuck this, man, I've had it with these fuckers dicking us around, trying to drive us insane before they kill us. You fuckers want to get it on with me? Well, that's fine, 'cause I'm coming for you. And with that, he turned and bolted up the stairs for the upper decks. Wyatt, wait, the captain yelled, but he was already out of sight. Come on, you 20th century shitheels, I heard him scream. The captain turned to us. Come on, we can't let him get too far away from us. We all began sprinting up the stairs, following the man's voice as he ranted and raved about wiping them all out. He really has gone over the deep end. He's yelling about killing already dead people with an axe. Jeez. Pursuing Wyatt, we reached the promenade deck and stopped on the landing. Wyatt had stopped screaming. The entire ship had gone dead silent. Not just dead silent, a deadly silence. A silence that held the worst connotations to it. Oh no, oh fuck no, I thought. I saw the same realization reflected in everyone else's face. I swallowed. Wyatt? I called out, my voice muted, bouncing off the carpet and the wood-panelled walls. There was no answer. Wyatt, buddy, talk to me. Where you at? Andrew yelled out. Still nothing. And then, slowly at first, a new sound began reaching us. The sound of sobbing and mumbling. Please. Please. I'm sorry. Please. Not that. Wyatt. Come on, Captain urged us, leading the way down the hall towards the lounge. The doors still stood open, and I could see the balloons and the decorations still on the floor. As we drew close, my blood turned to ice as I heard Wyatt begin to scream, half angry, half terrified. No, no, you're not doing that to me. The captain yelled out, Wyatt, we're coming. He was the first to reach the doorway. The axe suddenly swung around from the right side of the doorway faster than I thought possible. In that horrible split second, my lips began to yell out a warning, but it was too late. The axe buried itself into the captain's stomach, stopping the older man dead in his tracks. I heard him let out a strangled cry, more of a gasp as he doubled over. The axe pulled out of him, blood spilling to the floor from the man's wound. A moment later, Wyatt emerged from around the corner, a wild, insane rage plastered on his face. I got you, you fucking ghost, he screamed into the captain's face. I saw him raise the axe again, this time high over his head as he screamed again. Bleed, you shitter. I saw Vinny and Andrew begin rushing towards him, trying to stop what they saw coming, but again, I saw it was too late. I closed my eyes and turned away. I didn't want to see the axe slam into the captain's head, the head of the man who'd taken me under his wing and kept me from going broke, the man who'd helped me pay for my aunt's funeral when she'd passed away. I just couldn't bear to. But I heard it, and it's a sound I'll never be able to forget. A horrified silence settled over the room. I turned back, feeling like I was about to vomit as I saw the axe buried into his skull. He was laying his back on the floor, a rapidly spreading pool of blood beginning to surround him, staining the carpet. Wide, horrified eyes stared unblinking up at the ceiling, and his mouth was frozen open in shock. The man was dead. Very dead. I swung my gaze up. Vinny and Andrew had frozen in place, their arms still stretched out as if to try and stop the atrocity that had just occurred. Spencer clapped his hands over his mouth, his face white as a sheet, and his body was shaking uncontrollably. My eyes lifted to the blood-splattered face of the captain's murderer. The look of insane rage and bloodlust lingered in Wyatt's eyes for another moment. Then I saw it die away. I saw him snap back to reality. Captain? He asked in a whisper, looking down at the corpse. His breathing quickened and he lifted his own hands to stare at them, as though he were just beginning to comprehend what he'd done. His eyes lifted to us and I saw the panic begin to reappear in them. I didn't know it was him, he began pleading. I ran into the lounge and I was completely surrounded by them. They said they were going to kill me, torture me for eternity, for thinking about stealing from the purser's office. They called me a coward for crying and breaking down, and they dared me to attack them. His voice rose to a scream. And then they said their leader was coming in, and I heard the most horrible voice coming from the hallway. I swung for my life, and he cut off, beginning to shake as violently as Spencer was. He looked directly at me. I'm sorry, he said, quite simply. Then he turned and began sprinting through the lounge towards the companionway we'd taken to get inside that first night. We remained frozen for a moment, and then we all began to chase after him. Wyatt, wait! Vinny shouted at him. Wyatt's terrified, hysterical scream flew back at us as he rounded a corner. Fuck you. I'm not staying on board this ship. I'll swim home if I have to. He slammed into the final corner, and a new horrific realization hit me. I remember what I thought about the lifeboats when the Queen Elizabeth had begun moving. We'll be sucked under and... Wyatt! Don't! I screamed it out as we reached the corner. But it was too late. I caught a split-second glimpse of Wyatt flinging himself over the railing. And then he was gone, out of sight. None of us even heard a splash. We ran to the railing and peered over. For a moment we saw nothing. Then Wyatt's head broke the water's surface, coughing out water as he began to thrash, attempting to pull away from the ship. Then he was pulled under. Oh fuck, Spencer yelled and began running for the stern of the ship. Vinny, Andrew and I were right behind him. Part of me prayed that he would miss the propellers, that he'd be spat out the back of the ship. Drowning would be a less painful way to die than this. But as we reached the stern railing, I felt despair and horror flood into me. Seeing the dark red stain emerge from beneath the ship spread out with the foam which drifted behind us in the ship's wake. We stood there for a long time, staring out at the water as if doing so would return our lost crewmate, our lost friend. We could have been there minutes. We could have been there hours. All I know is the next thing I knew, I was looking up to see the sun beginning to set on the horizon. None of us knew what to do. We were numb and unable to function. So we did the only thing we could do. We went back to our cabin and locked the door. Well, that's where I am now. There's only 5 of us left now. The others have, for the life of me I don't know how, managed to fall asleep. I can only guess so much mental and physical energy was sapped from them, up to the point where they couldn't stay awake even if they wanted to. But me, well, I'm too afraid to sleep. Afraid I'll dream of the horrifying things I've seen today, of the figures, of the voice, the eyes staring hungrily down at me from over the hood of the car, down in the hold, of Wyatt either driven insane or hallucinating, a false image brought on by these ghosts plunging the axe into the captain's body, and of course of him disappearing into the water, of him being sliced to pieces by giant propeller blades. The ship, it seems, is doing everything it can to drive us insane, have us kill each other, or just flat out take us out. It's already taken Will. I know he's lost now. There's no way to bring him back. He's one of them now. And it makes me realise something. I said that there was only 5 of us left, but in reality there's only 4. For how much longer though, I don't know. The compass I have in my surprise, it just spins round non-stop. I can't even tell which direction we're heading in anymore. And I don't know how to position our location by the stars. The only person who knew how to do that was the captain. And he's dead. All I know is this. I'm not going to just roll over and let the ship take me. I'm going to try and find a way off to help get myself and the others back home, or die trying. We might have wanted to stay in the 50s forever, but I want to go back to the peace and normality of 2020s. Compared to this hell, the relative peace and normality anyways. I don't know though. Do any of you guys out there have any ideas? Any ideas at all of what to do now? Even if you think it's the dumbest idea in the world, hell, I'll take it. Anything's better than just letting the hopelessness overwhelm me. Just, please, give us any direction to take that might help us get off this damn ship. Please. The music has started again. I hear it filtering through the walls. It's a different tune now, but again, it's an old one I recognise. Sing, Sing, Sing by Benny Goodman. That's not the worst part though. Someone began knocking a few minutes ago on the cabin door, and then began calling in, asking for us to come and join the party. The voice that asked it was Will's, and then another voice joined him, a woman's voice, one that asked the same question with a British accent, and finally a third voice, one that made me want to break down in tears. The captain's voice. The implications of this ripped through my heart and soul like a dagger. To Will, this ship is heaven. A place where he can eternally spend frozen in this time period he wanted to go back to. To me, it's hell.